Alright, what is going on? We are back. I promised some SPL content, and I was thinking about recording each game live actually using a suggestion by a user in the poll that if you do Smog tours as like the recording window on like incognito and then I play the actual game, just do everything normal on my side. But I was thinking that talking through the games like out loud is different because when I do it for like a ladder live, I think it's more entertaining, more fun to be able to do crazy things or think crazy things. But for specifically like playing tournament games, my mindset is quite different, and I don't actually talk to myself out loud. It's a lot of inner thoughts, but it's not even like talking to myself inner thoughts. It's like, okay, what's he gonna do? How can I respond to that? How can I react? What can I do to take the pressure, go ahead? And it's very different. So unfortunately, I decided not to start doing lives for my tournament games, but I will still be covering each game. I think on a bi-weekly basis, I will cover my 2 games and then upload it, and then 2 games will go. I'll upload it on the second week again. So that'll kind of be the schedule for that, and I'll still explain my thought process and my building process because I know some people are interested in that. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun, and we're gonna go ahead and start with week 1. Alright, so today in week 1, we have PT versus myself, and he's a player known for playing very aggressively, lots of double switches, lots of U-turns clicked when maybe U-turns aren't expected. So this was a very tricky one to prepare for. I kind of tried to do like a new style of gaming I call FIWSI, aka fuck it, we stay in. So I try to make a team of guys that don't really want to switch or don't really care about switching sometimes. So that kind of comprised of Nasty Plot Petron. So Petron is a super tanky guy, eats like any hit whenever except like Spec Shadow Ball or Spec Earth Power, something like that. But in that case, I have Ting Lu, so it's not a big deal. Ting Lu is the fuck it we stay in guy primero uno because you know how he be. He doesn't get one shot by basically anything. There's very little in the game that one shots him. And I think I ran a Stealth Rock taunt set because I'm running Assault Piscurium, so I don't really want hazards to populate my side that much. So a lot of the guys I have also annoy the hell out of hazard setters. I have Dragonite, Raging Bolt, Curium, Zama. Like, you don't want these guys to set up. So that's kind of my way of pressuring hazards without having hazard control. I have DD Fly Knight with Earthquake and Extreme Speed. That was the main idea I wanted to build versus him. I thought it would be pretty strong into him, and it's a pretty underrated, underutilized set for Dragonite. It's really strong with a +1 Terra Blast flying. It comes close to one-shotting Zamazentas even with the +1 defense boost if they're not prepared for that. Next we have Shuka Raging Bolt, another stay-in guy, because ground types like Landorus, King Lu, Great Toss, you stay in versus all those, take your trade versus them, enable your Dragonite in the future to start setting up and winning. Assault Vescurium, my child, didn't do a lot this time, but the general idea is like it's able to stay in with things like Iron Valiant, even like Dragapults with boots, you eat that easily. So it's just a stay in guy and puts in a lot of damage. I didn't expect. One thing I actually omitted prep, which is why I'm running Raging Bolt Curium, is Slowking Galar, which obviously you can see on the screen here. So I actually didn't think he would bring those at all. I expected a Team Lu Goldango kind of bulk the offense, and fortunately he did bring a completely different team than what I expected, but the game is still pretty close, and you guys will see why. My last set is Iron Defense Chesto Zamazenta. Just a guy to like, rest up versus King Gambit, Iron Defense setup to prevent sweeps, all that jazz. So game starting out, I was like, oh god, this is actually like the complete opposite of what I prepared for, and it kind of made me change my mindset in the future about prepping so hard for like a specific thing and not accounting for other things. So I'm gonna have to switch that up, and looks really bad. Like, he definitely has tanky Tyranitar and he's King, 2 things that beat my Kyurem and Raging Bolt, which is not good. He also has Excadrill for my Raging Bolt, also not good. He has Moltres with Wisp, was what I assumed, and I was like, okay, Dragonite never one-shots with Terra Blast. I don't have Stone Edge or Rock Slide, probably kind of cooked. And then he has Hydrapple, which is the best answer to Ting Lu because you get a free Nasty Plot or a free Specs attack. So it's really not looking too great, but every game is winnable. You just gotta try finding your outs, try doing your best. So to start it off, I led Ting Lu because I expected Actually, I don't even know what I expected. Like Tyranitar or Moltres? I think I expected Moltres because it beats most things on its own. But I led Ting-Lu, which is a really bad lead. I was like, is he going to Specs Leaf Storm me? Or is he just going to Nasty Paw or Specs Draco me? Because I don't really have a Dragon Resist either. Ting-Lu is the Dragon Resist. So, a Hard Switch Petch, and he reveals Nasty Paw. I'm like, alright, I'm probably cooked here. I'm just going to take the Malignant, play for odds there. Go for the Poison, and then maybe Confuse. Unlikely, but, you know, gotta go for it. But in hindsight, a better play would have been to cure him here because I think this is a used team and I just wasn't aware of it, and I don't think it is Specs Hydrapple ever. So if I went cure him, I eat the Fickle Beam with the Salt Vest. I also eat Nasty Plot or Giga Drain or Leaf Storm, obviously, with cure him, and I can force it out. And also, cure him isn't very good in this matchup because he has Tyranitar, he has Drill and Moltres, so, and Slowking, obviously. So probably going cure him was my best play here. So this was a bit of a misplay, letting my Petch die. I do get the Toxic, but I don't get the Confusion. Petch goes down. I bring Dragonite in. I'm like, I can start threatening him. He hard switched Moltres, which makes me think, he's either going to Terra this because he fears Stone Edge, or he's just not going to respect it at all. And either way, like, I can't risk getting Wisp here. So I have to switch out to Ting-Lu here, unfortunately. And he just clicks Roar. Kieran comes in. I just go for attacks here just to try to chip this down. Click Earth Power. Click Ice Beam here. I think Earth Power was always the best play, but I thought maybe he'd switch out into Moltres to preserve Tyranitar HP, but he doesn't end up doing that. Go Raging Bolt, go for a Calm Mind. Because I'm shook, I'm like, I might as well go for the Draco damage on this, set up my Dragonite in the future. He goes for Iron Head, predicting my Terra here, and I go for Draco. Does a lot of damage, but not enough, fortunately. And I am able to take this out, but it's at the cost of all of my Raging Bolt HP. So, Drill Down is still good for Dragonite, but it's really not looking good. It's basically a 3v5 right now. He goes Slowking, I go Ting-Lu. He makes a nice double to Hydrapple here. I just get my rocks up because I want to limit the Tyranitar as much as possible. Here's where Earth Power actually would have been really nice instead of Ice Beam, and that was a major misplay, is because Tyranitar wouldn't be able to survive rocks from this angle. So that means that's Sand Chip on my Dragonite that I don't have to take, which actually comes really into play, as you'll see. So we go for the trades. I get rid of Ting-Lu, or get rid of Hydrapple. Ting-Lu dies. Now I'm thinking, okay, Moltres beats Zama and Dragonite, so he probably is going to go Moltres here. So I go Raging Bolt in that case. Or no. Oh no, I expected Dragonite, or I expected T-Tar to be sacked here. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. So here's where not Earth Powering really bites me, because he's coming in, he's starting Sand up, which is a huge deal, which means Multiscale is broken free because it's hard Moltres. The other misplay I really made early on is not just Terra Blasting instantly. I should have played off the fear of like Lumberry or like Terra Fire or something and just expected a Roar. It's a hindsight play, but if I Terra'd earlier on this, I would have probably won the game. Unfortunately, Roar pulls in my Zama instead of my Raging Bolt, which is 50-50. And Zamazenta's Body Press roll into Moltres is actually like 40-50% in my favor. So I was like, at this point, I have to go for the press. Hope to knock out Moltres and the game is winnable from there, but we don't get it. We get the low roll. His Moltres gets to heal for free. I go Iron Defense because I'm like, I can still pressure this because I have Chesto Berry, and he gets the burn instantly. Burn instantly is pretty tough, honestly. It's pretty tough, but it forces me to expend my Chesto, and he gets a free Roost here into a Roar. If I didn't get burned, he's at 46, or no, he's at 40, which means I get to go for another roll that's not a bad roll for me body pressing this, and I also waste Roosts of his, so I can pressure him a lot here, but fortunately we do get burned, does force us to rest, he gets a free Roost and gets a Roar out. Raging Bolt does come in this time, but Slowking's just coming in, or Tyranitar sack is just coming in, so I Calm Mind on the obvious sack, just to add some pressure, maybe force in Zamazenta instead of Slowking, but go for Draco. It does a hefty chunk, but not enough, and we can't risk going for if we can't risk Ice Beam or Sludge Bomb here, so I just have to take the kill. and I just have to spam attacks into this. I could have probably Dragon Danced after this. Like I think I doubled back, and I probably should have Dragon Danced, but Flame is doing a lot, so I'm just trying to pressure it. And at this point, the game is pretty done for me, unfortunately. Chesto being gone means that even though he doesn't have Wisp-Bomb Ultras, he does beat me out by just spamming Flamethrower, which does almost a third of my HP. I think in hindsight, I should have taken this roll because it's a high roll Flamethrower 35 to me or 34. And if I go for press here, I 2-hit KO. If I dodge burn both times and from Flamethrower, and I outspeed his Zamazenta, I can rest up and then win the game there. But the game ends when he crits me twice. I would have to stall 16 so Flamethrowers, which is not likely anyways without getting crit. So I was just playing my outs, but I think there was something better I could have done there. So this was a tough loss to have week 1. I wasn't too proud of my team I brought. I thought I had some cool ideas, but it didn't really come together that well. And PDT played way better than I did, and he's always a guy that beats me. So I guess it's not too much of a bummer because it's like it is what it is, and you just gotta bounce back for week 2. Make sure you don't start 0-2, and honestly, just have fun and do your best. That's kind of the mindset you should take with tournaments like this, and the mindset that I'm trying to promote and enjoy. So moving on to week 2, we got Mincemeat. Mincemeat is a very interesting player. He's probably one of the luckier players in SVOU, and you know that's not like a dig at him per se, because luck is just a factor in Pokemon. But there are like quite a few egregious examples of him, like Dire Clawing when Sneasler was around, getting to sleep on the Pokemon that killed every other thing on his team. That was pretty crazy. Just stuff like that kind of gives him this reputation of being a bit lucky. We're currently 1-1 in SVOU tournaments. He beat me in SCL, dodging 2 of my gunk shots. I actually recorded that, I believe. And then I beat him in SPL with a cool Ogerpon normal game into him. I clicked Superpower on the double into Gambit, and that won me the game. So prepping for him, a lot of ideas were being thrown around for myself in my head, but ABR, my manager, suggested going for a Core Gliscor build because these are 2 extremely obnoxious Pokemon, especially with U-turn. They tank everything, they set up hazards, they pressure stall, all that stuff. So that was my general idea, and I wanted to use Kyurem Ground because it looks really strong and it's just like a really good Pokemon in general, so I used that. I added Darkrai as my kind of Goldango scare away or force terror on a Goldango guy because Wisp Knock Darkrai is a very strong set right now, especially on a boot spam team like myself. I have 4 boots, and not being an extra knocker for things like Glow King or Team Glue to help progress my team, always a good thing. Tinkaton and Slowking were just there to kind of compress the team, make it a little more sturdy because Slowking beats stuff like special targets like Kyurem. Tinkaton is a mold breaker for Goldango, gets rocks up, has knockoff as well. So that's my general idea. His team looks like a kind of offense like my team matches pretty well into. Roaring Moon is actually really scary right here because it's always a threat with the +2 attack knockoffs. Like that stuff is always going to hit hard, and it destroys everything on my team basically. So my whole goal is to prevent Roaring Moon from sweeping me. That's the main idea. So picking a lead into his team, I think Rai would have been a really good lead. It beats basically everything. He's not going to lead his Iron Valiant with boost energy, obviously, but I decided against it because I expected Ogerpon, and I didn't want something like a Booster Great Tusk to lead into my Rai, so I wanted to keep that HP, so I decided on leading Kyurem. He leads Ogerpon, which is, a pretty expected lead from him. I just go for Freeze Dry because we live every hit, except for Adamant Superpower, I believe, but I just make an easy play here. I don't know if this might be overreading to it, but my past as a player of being like a clicker, hyper aggressive, get momentum kind of guy, like I feel like his Iron Head is really not a good play. Like if anything, you could tell if you have it, right? Because Iron Head into Corv is just a losing play all around. Iron Head to Gliscor also not that good. But I just get a free U-turn on him with good Helm Chip on King Gambit. I bring a Slowking Galar, which is usually an Assault Vest on my side, so it's kind of scary offensively into something like Petron. It gives me a free Chili, which I was going to use to bring in Kyurem. So now Corv is back in. Like I mentioned, Roaring Moon, huge threat. Gotta preserve HP on Corv, so I go for a Roost here because King Gambit can never beat it. Based on the freeze dry calc to his King Gambit, it's max HP, so it's always slower than my Corv, which isn't very fast in the first place. Petch comes back in. I know he's just clicking Shadow Ball here or Parting Shot, so it's a free switch into my Rai. In hindsight, this was a really bad play actually, Parting Rai, because if he just went for a free Malignant Chain, I was kind of cooked if he got the poison. Like, I was really cooked, but this was a really aggressive play that ended up working out because I got a free burn on his presumably Rocks Tusk, but it's booster, so maybe not. Maybe it's just bulk up. He just goes for Headlong Rush, which bounces off with burn and snow up for Kyurem. And Kyurem has outlived his purpose, being in range of Play Rough from Ogre Pond, so, and every other thing, Sucker Punch, Roaring Moon, Valiant, so I just go for Freeze Dry, knock it out. Here, I'm actually Roar Kyurem because I have a hazard stack with knockoff, so plans to beat Glow King include knocking Glow King off and then roaring it if it tries to come in on Kyurem. So here I'm like, okay, I'm sacking Kyurem anyways, might as well go for Roar. He makes an over prediction and goes for Shadow Ball, which makes sense. You know, I have a Slow King, which is a common answer to Iron Valiant, but in my head, I don't want this to take a knockoff, right? Because it could be booster attack Valiant, so that was unnecessary. I just go for Roar in case he does not click Moonblast or CC or anything. So Ogerpunk comes in. It's still big threat, so I go for Wisp on it. He brings in Valiant, and I was like, oh, is he actually going to hand it to me for free with Sludge? Nope. he makes the good play, goes King Gambit. Now here's where it gets interesting, because he instantly goes for a Terra Fire here, which I don't really understand or think is like a really good play here, because like, is he expecting Focus Blast from Darkrai? But in that case, if you Terra and I Focus Blast, you're still gonna die to Helm, so you're kind of wasting your Terra guy when Roaring Moon could be your Terra guy. But that's huge news for me. It's a free U-turn for me. King Gambit is taking a million from hazards once I get him up. Here's a second misplay perhaps. Like, he revealed Shadow Ball and Parting Shot. He's not Nasty Plot, which means Gliscor beats it, Tinkaton beats. I probably should have just gone to these guys, get hazards up. I go for Pulse, hoping to like scare him out or get him out of there, but he stays in and he gets the Malignant Chain through the Dark Pulse flinch. Kind of scary for me, forcing me to switch out, lets him recover for free, because, you know, you always have to take those odds in that exact moment to recover. It's fine. I get my rocks up. I go for Thunder Wave on this because Ogerpon, like I said, still pretty annoying, so I'm still going to go for that. He just knocks me out here. I go for the knockout just to do a little bit of damage to him. So here, I come up with a game plan. I'm like, alright, Tusk is gone. Hazards might just win me the game. I might just win straight up. Roaring Moon might not even be a threat if hazards are up with Corona. So I go for the tech because obviously I don't want to get knocked off for free. And I anticipate him not being a grass move on Ogerpon, so I just Terra my water. And that turns out being right, so I'm just getting up every hazard right now, as he does the same to me, because hazards now affect my Gliscor, which, that's whatever. I don't really care about that. I U-turn here, intending to sack Slow King and bring it back, Gliscor back in, but I get the para, and then I get the para again. It's fortunate. I don't know how much it actually affects the outcome of this game, luckily for me, but it happens again, so did he click Knock or did he click Spikes? Who knows, right? But at this point, the game plan is pretty clear for me, though. I win with Corv, I win with Darkrai. Valiant comes in. I was thinking of protecting, stalling this burn a little bit, but I was like, if he Calm Minds on that, gets a crit or something, that could be kind of annoying, but it doesn't really matter. Gliscor doesn't need his HP, it's outlived its purpose. He reveals Destiny Bond on his set, so it takes us both out. So at this point, look at how this game looks. King Gambit, dead to hazards, unless it's boots, which would be insanity. It's probably black glasses or something like that, or mental herb even. Petrarunt, taken so much from hazards as well. It's taken 50% from hazard, or sorry, 38%-ish from hazards. Ogerpon, dead to hazards. Roaring Moon, gonna take a lot too. Because he doesn't have Terra on Roaring Moon, I can just really guarantee the game right now with the body press, like win the game on the spell with the body press. So that's what I go for. He goes for Dragon Dance. I'm not sure what the rule is for Roaring Moon to eat this, but I gotta imagine it's pretty. It could be anything. That could be a high roll or low roll depending on his bulk. But either way, Helmet into Body Press was a guaranteed win. He sends everything in. You've never seen everything die. three things dying in one single turn in SVOU, Scarlet Violet OU. So that's pretty cool and way to end the game. But yeah, these were my first two games of SPL. My current record is 1-1. I guess not up to my personal standard, but you know, you'll take any win you get as long as you have fun. That's what matters at the end. If you enjoy content like this, let me know, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you for the next one. Or actually, I'll catch you for predictions starting, I guess, predictions tonight or tomorrow, actually. So stay tuned for that, and have a good one. Peace.